Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'm gonna show you guys how you can properly store your sugar flowers so they can last forever. So in front of me, I have some sugar flowers that I've made over the past few years. Some of them more recently. They range from gum paste flowers to wafer paper flowers over here. And though I've already made them for a period of time, they look as good as new. So today I'm gonna show you guys how you can do that too. So before we jump into learning how to do so, we need to first understand why sugar flowers tend to melt in certain environments. So bulk of sugar flour or even wafer paper are made out of ingredients that are sensitive to moisture in the air. So let's say in the case of gum paste, it will be the sugar content, and in the case of wafer paper, it will be the starch inside. So when it comes in contact with moisture, it tends to melt. Just so that how like sugar flowers come in contact with water, it tends to melt or wither. So what happens is your petals will tend to become very soft. But in this case, this is not. So this petal is pretty hard, as you can see, because the environment I am in right now is very dry. So that's the deal. The drier your environment, the longer your sugar flowers are going to last. So you have two options. First, you can go get a dehumidifier, which is what I have in my studio. So it keeps my entire studio really dry. So I can just leave my sugar flowers out in the air and nothing will happen to it because it stays really dry. Second, if you are not willing to invest in a dehumidifier because it costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars, what I'm going to teach you today is a very simple, probably just a $10 hack that you can do to keep your flowers in a dry container and you can just keep reusing them. So here are just some very simple materials that I've got from the craft store. So the most important ingredient or material over here that we have will be the silica gel. So as you can see from the bottle itself, it says that it's a drying agent. So people tend to use this in like the camera dry box, or you can actually also use them inside your cupboards if they are too humid. So if I just to show you guys, there are these blue little balls that actually tend to absorb moisture in whatever environment they are in. So I'm just gonna close them up. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna create little silica gel bags, and then we are gonna place these bags inside a container where we store our sugar flowers. So once you keep the area or the environment inside the container really dry, your sugar flowers will last very well inside them. So nothing will happen to them because it's really dry. They will not melt or they will not wither. So that is the deal. So you need a silica gel. This bottle probably just costs you about like $8. You can get it off any camera shops or photo developing shops. Next, you'll need a disposable spoon. Because these guys are not edible, they are very toxic. So you do not want to use any spoons that you will be using later on to consume any food. Here I have just a little needle for us to poke holes into the Ziploc bags later. And you can choose the size of Ziploc bags that you can use. It doesn't really matter. If you have a big box, you can always choose to do a lot of small little bags. Or if you just want to have like one or two of them, you can go for a bigger size. So the sizes doesn't really matter. All you need to do is just to fill them up with the silica gel, and then we're going to start poking holes into them. So I'm just going to open it up and choose the size of bag that you want to work with. So I'm just going to go with this little one. So you can then just open them up and then scoop it in this way. You don't really have to fill in all the way. You can fill it in until it's about probably 3/4 full, something like that. So there's some space to move around. So once you're not using it, just make sure you close it up because it will start to absorb the moisture and it will start to turn color, which I'm gonna talk about it in a bit. So the main reason why we're using a Ziploc bag instead of just putting our sugar flowers in it is because these guys are toxic, right? So you do not want these guys to come in contact with your sugar flowers, especially if you're gonna consume or give it to your clients later on. So this prevents the silica gel from touching your sugar flowers. In order for this silica gel to start absorbing the moisture that is around the area that we're going to place this guy in, we're going to use a little needle, and then we're just going to start poking holes so that through these little holes, the silica gel will start to absorb the moisture in the environment that is placed in. So there is no hard and fast rule to how many holes you should poke, but probably somewhere between 10 to 15 maybe. Just be careful with your hands and make sure you don't poke your hands. So this is how it will look like. So you can see the little holes there on the bag itself. Okay, so then you're good to go. What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna place this little bag inside a container of sugar flowers. Here I have a box of sugar flowers that I've previously had. I'm gonna show you what happens to, so this is the one that I've newly made. I'm gonna show you what happens to the one that is inside. So you guys can see the color difference in these two bags of silica gel. So both silica gels, they are from the same bottle, but the reason why this guy is of a more purplish tone and this is a more bluish tone is because that this one has already started absorbing moisture. So as it starts to absorb moisture, it's gonna turn from blue to purple to finally a pink tone. So once it has turned into a pink tone, you will know that this guy is done absorbing all the moisture. And what you need to do is you can either throw them away, make new bags of silica gel, or if you want to be more environmental friendly, what you can do is you can throw all this silica gel that has turned into a purplish pink tone into a toaster oven, heat it up, it will become this nice fresh blue tone again, and let it cool down just ever so slightly, and then put them into a bag again, and then you can reuse them. So this is actually a really cheap and easy way to make sure that the environment that you place your flowers in stays dry. It's not restricted only to sugar flowers. You can also place them inside whichever area that you find that are too humid, like a wardrobe or like a cupboard or like a drawer that you really want to keep them really dry to stop mold from forming. So this is a really good trick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take this out, and then I'm gonna just place this guy inside the box, and then I'm just gonna close it like that. This box doesn't have to be an airtight box, so as long as the lid can cover well, you're good to go. How fast does it change from a blue silica gel into a pink silica gel? Really depends on how humid the environment is. If it's really humid, it can probably just take up to 2 or 3 days to turn into a fully pink one. But if you're in an area that's not so humid, it probably takes up to like 2 to 3 weeks. So it really depends on where you are. So there you go. So this is a very simple trick that you can do to keep your sugar flowers and make sure that they last forever. So one last thing to note, in order for the colors to stay as vibrant as you want them to be, try to allow these guys to stay in an area away from direct sunlight, because UV rays tend to make the colors of the flowers fade. That's just one thing you need to note. So in a cool and dry environment, away from direct sunlight, and make sure the air inside the container is really dry. So those are the few factors that you need to remember in order for your sugar flowers to stay up nice and dry forever. So I hope you guys learned something valuable from this video. If you guys enjoy the content, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel, and you can also share with your friends so everybody gets to learn something new. That's it for today. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys soon.